Okay, welcome to another kind of unboxing video, although it's not really unboxing. I'm going to talk today a little bit about 3D printed miniatures because it's something that obviously it's quite vogue at the moment, and it's something that I'm actually considering picking one up. And we're starting to see lots of stuff coming around. So I borrowed some miniatures from my friend Paul Winter, who's ordered some miniatures from various different places. He's also been gifted some miniatures from various different places. And we're going to look at two types of miniatures. One is a kind of sort of commercially printed top-end-ish printer, which I believe I'm still getting into this myself, but I believe they can cost anything up to about 10 grand UK, so £10,000 for a commercial printer setup, a 3D resin printer. And the home style printers are more like £300 or £400 once you've built in some kind of wash station and curing station. So there's a big difference in price between the 10 grand, obviously, and the 400. That's what, 25 times more expensive. So I'm not sure that's really in the budget of anybody who's doing it on a hobby basis. So what we'll do is we'll look at a couple of, well, we've actually got three different units here, three different strips to look at. And they're all Forest Dragon, so these are the ones that were on Patreon for your, I believe it's about $10 or £10 you signed up, and they gave you access to the STL files. You could also buy them pre-printed from companies that had a printing license. So we'll start with the 10 grand machine. Let's call it the commercial machine, and it's the command stand. But there's a little bit of difference between this one and the other command stand, but you'll see that they're basically the same, with just the helmets have changed and the guy with his sword has changed. So there is a very, very high level of detail on these commercially printed ones. If we can try and see the shield here on the end. Yeah, I don't know if you call those runes. I mean, they really are very delicate miniatures, and they are very finely detailed. So this guy there playing a little lute. It's very nice, very elfy. As far as I know, these come pre-supported, so for 3D printing, you don't have to worry about supporting, which can be quite an issue apparently. He's even got some braids in his hair here or something. It's pretty impressive. Very dynamic character in the middle. I mean, he's very light being an elf, so that's probably only a leaf. He probably only weighs about four ounces. Oh, dripping wet, that elf. And so we will get, that's a nice picture. So then we will get the home printed style, which I mean, £300-400 isn't nothing, and you're going to have to print quite a few at £300 or £400 to get your money back. It won't be a case of just printing the odd one or two units. Yeah, so you can see the level of detail isn't the same. Obviously, you wouldn't expect it to be the same. And in a minute, I'll try and get them both on the camera at the same time, and we'll have a look if you can see that the actual difference between the two levels of detail. It's mainly around the finer edges, the kind of finer, more delicate points, and the kind of sharp angles that you can see it, and also on these kind of indents in the shields, in the kind of the runes or whatever in the shield. Okay. But they're certainly not terrible. They're certainly not terrible. Right, so we'll try and get them on the same screen now. This is going to be the challenge, and then we'll try and measure them up. So let's see if we can get the loot guide together without. So the focus is quite narrow to try and get a good picture. So they're obviously in different coloured resins, and the grey one is a little bit easier to see. But you should be able to see that there's quite a lot more definition on things like strings and hands and stuff, which you'd expect from the different types of printer. And they've got different shield and helmet designs, but again here you can see quite a lot more definition on the shield. And then I'll do the back. Again, the cloaks are slightly different, but you can see. I mean, it's the same models. They've just been converted slightly to give them a different appearance. Let's see if we can get those two things similar there. So again, the kind of homebrew one has got it looks a bit chunkier, a bit little less delicate on the detail. Okay, so that was I think they're just generic elf command, or maybe they're wood elf command, and then we've got some spearmen here. So again, I'll do this a bit more quickly. So this is the commercial printer. I will get the ruler out before I forget for this one. I mean, the scale's going to be the same because they're using computers and other such technology. So once it's printed, isn't it? So once it's scaled, it's scaled. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it looks spot on. 10 mil. Spot on. Spot on, right. Okay, so this is the commercial one. We'll give them a spin round. And this is the, should we call it a hobby one? If that would be a more generous term for it. Okay, and try and get them on the same screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see that they're the same miniatures, but the kind of the minimum level of each layer is obviously much higher on the left hand side, so you get much higher definition on the detail than on the right hand side. Let's see if we can get. And then we'll try and do the back, and then we'll move on to the third and final unit, because I don't want this video to be too long. I just wanted people to be able to see. That's the wrong way around. See what the two types of printer are, and the differences between the print quality. And then it's basically up to you what you want to deal with. If you want to print them yourself on the right hand side, or you can see like there's much finer detail, especially on the kind of hair and stuff on these guys on the left. But these are the ones you have to pay maybe €10 a unit for. So yeah, but then they've got to invest 10 grand to buy the machine to print. So, and then what have we got here? Some Dryads. So again, we'll start with the commercially printed Dryads. They're quite interesting models. I mean, if you're playing War Master, Dryads are as bent as they come. They're the little ones are basically orcs that are fearless, which is pretty cool. So they hit hard and they're not scared of anything. And then there's some bigger treemen, I think, that come in as ogres effectively. Right, and then we'll have a look at the. So we'll look at the homebrew one. You could see that the ends of the branches are not quite as delicate as on the other one, and also the hands are lacking a little bit of definition. But it's all about horses for courses. I mean, some people are quite happy to play with tokens for War Master. That's something I've done myself. So, and but if you can afford to get the commercially printed one, I wouldn't suggest in a million years people go out and buy one of these commercial printers for their own use, because that's just bonkers. But there is a significant difference in detail between the commercial one. You can see it here. Like look at the end of the branches, especially on the left hand side. Crikey. Between the commercial and the homebrew, and it's basically up to you. Do you want what do you want? What's your budget? But hopefully this 10-minute video has been useful. I've done it because it's something I was interested in. And let's have a look at get the old ruler out before I go off. Do you like me a little blue ruler? Let's see if we can look at these fellas here and see what the scale is on these. fine to me. Just yeah, perfect. Perfect, good stuff. So yeah, if you're interested in more videos like this, please like and subscribe and stuff. Come and listen to our podcast. We've got an interesting one coming up, talking about Cathay. The Mr. Chris Orr has been doing some work on Cathay, and he's gonna be coming in discussing it with me and Paul, and we're gonna talk about the new Cathay list that's been sent out. But this was some 3D printed stuff. It came from Paul Winter. It's not something I own. I mean, I'm gonna have to go and have a good bath now, having touched elves. But speak to you soon.